Hello, I'm Remy Mraz, and thank you for joining Power Huddles, brought to you by Plug-in South LA. Power Huddles are meant to be focused on conversations between founders about the many facets of running a tech startup. And in this content series, we'll be delving into topics such as how to approach storytelling, raising capital, bringing on your first full-time employees, and a myriad of other components essential to running a business. We also wanted to ensure that our community is receiving the knowledge and insights to build companies that not only scale, but provide fellowship with founders who want to share what they have learned along the way in their journey. And today we're joined by Alexandra Zatarain, co-founder and chief marketing officer of 8 Sleep. Alexandra, we're really honored to have you here today as a guest. Please let our community know a little bit more about you and 8 Sleep.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I'm one of the co-founders of 8 Sleep. We are the world's first sleep fitness company. We develop technology to help people sleep better. We've been doing this for a few years now. We're best known for our signature and best-selling product, the Pod. That is technology that you can use on any bed or buy it as a bed from us that will help you create the perfect microclimate while you sleep, and also give you a ton of information about how your body is doing, both on your sleep and other health biometrics to help you optimize your recovery further.
That is incredible. So revolutionizing the sleep industry. And I can tell you that as an entrepreneur myself and also an athlete, I'm someone who values sleep, but I have a really difficult time getting a good night's rest. So when I saw your website headliner, which is join the sleep fitness movement, it immediately spoke to me. And so I thought it very fitting that we're discussing brand storytelling today, because that line alone made me want to know more about your company and your products. So tell us how your brand story evolved in the first, couple of years of building the startup to what it is today.
Yeah, it was very different at the beginning. I think most founders, when you start the company, especially if it's in a space like in the case that we did, which is was kind of new. We're in the sleep space, everyone sleeps, so you could think, oh, we know a lot about sleep. But the way we were approaching sleep through technology innovation to actually solve sleep problems was quite unique, especially many years ago. And so there was a lot of self-doubt when it comes to how we would message our products, what even was really kind of our category. When you tend to think of like retail traditional categories, where would people search for us? We were creating a smart mattress cover as an initial product. Like, what is that? It doesn't exist. That's not something people Google for. So again, there was a lot of self-doubt. And I think a lot of founders have that. You wonder if anyone's going to want what you're building. You wonder if anyone will understand it. And in that process of doubting yourself, you tend to, for most of us as founders, you tend to like overcomplicate things. You start looking at what others are doing, either in your space or adjacent spaces, or you start looking at what successful companies in completely unrelated categories are doing, and you assume that what's working for them is going to work for you. And you do that based on what you see, and you try to copy imagery, try to copy styles and colors in terms of visual brand, but then you also start doing the same with messaging and positioning. And what we have learned over the last few years is that that is totally the wrong way to do it. And I talk about this a lot, about the fact that really your DNA and the reason why you started this company and what you understand about the space and where you want to go, that is your brand position. It should come from the inside out. It can't be something that you do focus groups for. It can't be something that you just go and search and research from the outside in. It comes from within. And that is, I think, has been the biggest learning for 8 Sleep, the moment that we really pivoted that and said, well, no, let's really look at the inside. Let's stop looking about and caring for what others are doing and how others are speaking to consumers. It's about who we are, what makes us different, what makes us unique, what's our point of view. And to your point of the movement, then it's just a matter of finding other people who have the same set of beliefs and who want the same things. And then that's how you start building a movement around your brand.
That's incredible and great insights. Because you have so many products there, right? What role does product play in the brand story?
Yeah, it's very critical, and it's different for companies, right? There are companies like in our case at 8 Sleep, we're a mission-driven company. We are not connected just to the technology we have today, but we have a complete vision, and we measure our success not in our ability to sell products, but to actually help you sleep better. So our product is a means to an end. There are companies that are product driven, and that's totally fine. Like I can think of a company like Dyson, right? And when you think about how they talk about themselves and their marketing and who they are as a company, that building the best products in their categories is what they do. And they don't necessarily sell you how much better your life is, or, you know, how much they're saving you time from you can spend with your family because you vacuum faster. That's not what they focus on. And that's totally fine. I think identifying as an entrepreneur and a founder, or if you're just leading growth at a company, where you are in that spectrum and where you stand and how you want to do your marketing is really key. So because for us, product is a means to an end, it is a very important means, because when you think of a brand, what you promise and what people believe you're going to deliver for them is the most important thing you have. You can't break that trust. If you break that, then you don't have any more of the trust of the consumer. And so we look at our product as a way to say, how do we create the relationship that we want to sustain over time? And at the end of the day, how does that product allow us to also grow the movement? When we think about sleep fitness, we say, we're here as brand builders to build the movement. And we want to inspire you to adopt that as part of your lifestyle, to want to be sleep fit. But we also are conscious that not everyone right now could afford the products that we sell. So you could become sleep fit through our products, or you could do it through any other means. And it's our role as we build that movement from the marketing, the brand perspective, to give you the tools to do that. And eventually one day, hopefully, if we've done our jobs well, you will come to trust us with your money. And when you have that money, you'll invest it in our products because we have helped you in other ways through education or content, or even just inspiration.
Right. And so when you talk about how you guys pivoted, focused, right? Then you started creating some momentum and traction. So what are some of the tactical ways that founders can go about building momentum?
Yeah, the biggest momentum shift we actually saw it was a combination of the product. So it was when we introduced the new positioning of the brand, we had a better product. It was kind of like our real second generation product, which is the pod that launched in 2019. But then with that came the fact that we narrowed our focus in one specific segment of consumers. That was another big finding of this whole exercise. Whereas in the first years of the company, we thought, well, everyone sleeps, so we can sell this to anyone. And we try to A/B test our way to finding like who the ideal consumer segment would be. But that, again, that's not the way. You have to look back at ourselves and say, why did I start this company? Who was I building this product for? Generally, it's usually you're building it for yourself or somebody you really know because you know the problem. And are there other people out there in the world like me? And there always are, because there's a lot of us in this world. And that's an exercise that we did. And we said, well, we could sit here in a room and try to focus group our way into finding the ideal consumer segment, or we could look at ourselves and the reason why we started this company and who we want to build it for. And that's what we did. And so we narrowed down to a community of people who ended up really igniting our traction, because they saw themselves reflected in the brand that we were building, and our messaging and our vision for how sleep should be optimized and prioritized. And so that's how it becomes the true movement that you want to create, with the sort of spiral where it's just a matter of finding more people like them, while you also try to educate more people to become like you. But it takes time. You have to be in it for the long term too.
Right. And I had that recent experience myself, and niching it down and getting focused and learning how to speak right to the customer, the target customer, which, just like you said, it was us.
Yes.
So what happens when you can't get, the traction that you're looking for? What do you do then? Like, how do you think out? What are some things outside of the box that you can recommend to a startup founder in this position?
Yeah, we've been there. We've been in those positions, and what we have found is there's two sides of areas where I would focus on. Is your product really helping someone tackle something in their lives? That could even just be vanity and showing to others that they are someone in this world, right? Like, it's just about finding the hook. What is it solving for them? What is it delivering of value to them? And if it isn't, then you keep iterating on your product, right? And then it's just a matter of time when you hit the nail on the head and there's actually someone that finds value from it. The other side is you find, which is the most dangerous place to be, is like you find a little bit of that traction. Like, there's some people for whom the product is valuable. You're just not finding it like at a larger scale yet. You can't manage to efficiently find more people like them consistently month over month, right? All of us in these fast growing companies, you're kind of in this race where you want to keep growing. And so what I have found works there is just to go back to the basics in marketing, rather than trying to spend your way into that sort of at scale product market fit. You need to think back again. Who is that customer? What do these people have in common who are buying it? Where do they go and read and watch? Who is influencing them? It's not just about blasting a bunch of ads in front of them. It's just the basics. I love how nowadays, especially in the last year, when there's been such a change with our digital advertising channels for everyone, going back to the basics of advertising is really in vogue, and everyone is talking about that, and that it just never disappoints. It's tried and true.
Right, because on the digital side, it's evolving all the time and so quickly, right? I love that piece of advice, going back to the basics. So when you think about brand message and brand promise, and especially a product like yours, where what I hear you saying is that we're going to help change the way you sleep, right? We're going to make it better for you. How should founders think about those two things, the brand promise tying it with the brand message?
Yeah, at the end of the day, people will get a sense for what your promise is, whether you tell them or not.
Mm-hmm.
You probably want to articulate it yourself before they make their own mind and get their own idea of what it is. And I think that was another big learning for us, is when you're building very innovative technologies, and they're risky and they take time to be created, you are scared, and you should be very mindful of how you go about like promising something very openly. But people will make their minds, and based on how much they pay and who they see using it and how you look and other things that you say, they will formulate their own idea. So I do think it's important, if you have a way to articulate it, for you to do it, to put it out there and to hold yourself and your own team accountable to that as well, and to measure it and say, are we actually delivering on it? It won't be perfect for everyone. I don't think, and we see that with 8 Sleep, is it a product that will help absolutely every sleeper? Probably not right now. That's where we hope to be. And so you also have to be willing to learn and be open and understand, who does it work for, and how do I find more people like them who I can deliver for right now, instead of trying to be the all in for everyone. Mm-hmm. But I think we can all have examples in our minds of brands that we have some sort of attachment to, because we really feel like they deliver on something. And I was just reading earlier about the new launches from Apple, and you say, well, they're very expensive, some of these new computers they just launched. And you think, well, why do people pay that? And how can they get away with it? Because people see them as some level of quality, some level of design, some level of experience, right? And that there's a promise in there that at the beginning, they really had to articulate and verbalize themselves and kind of tout for themselves. And over time, it just became a part of what the brand meant to the world.
Right. And I had that experience with them as a trusted source. When I used to have a PC, I was always getting, viruses, et cetera, and didn't have that experience with Apple. And so to me, they became my trusted source for computers, for laptops, based on that experience alone. Is there any parting words that you'd like to give our founders in the community in terms of, your big takeaways from your journey thus far?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is to trust your gut when it comes to building a brand, to not focus too much on the data, the questions that other people from the outside may have on who's your right segment, or whether there's a bigger segment somewhere else that would pay more money for it. When you're building a company, you're getting into a journey of 10 plus years. That should be the mindset. So you need to be building in a space that you're passionate about. You need to be building for people you can relate to, and that you can be relatable to them, that you can speak to, you can get more in the trenches with. So go for that. It'll just be more fun, and you'll probably end up being more successful.
Excellent. Alexandra, thank you so much for sharing your insights with our community. We wish you nothing but continued success. And to our community, keep dreaming, keep building, and we'll see you at the next Power Huddle. Okay.